We chose the Paton feeder after looking at every field day we go to. My father's never missed a Wimmera or Elmore field day, so he knows the market and he knows what he's looking for, and they're relatively cheap for what they are, and they're well built and they do the job cost effectively. About an 1,800 acre farm. We have sheep, merino sheep, and we have white Suffolk rams for fat lambs, and we have cropping, mainly barley and oats. We used to use, and still sometimes do use, an oat feeder that we fill in the same manner and use the oat feeder to put a trail out onto the ground. That tends to be wasteful. Sheep see you coming from a mile away, they chase you, end up in dust, and then they end up standing all over the oats. We find with the sheep feeder, we take it away before it's empty, so they're not really wanting for it. They're not waiting for more food, and it's quite neat. If what they don't eat, they don't waste. When you first put them onto them, you get surprised that you think they're going to eat you out of house and home quite quickly, but they soon ration themselves off. We also feed out oat and hay and grass hay, so they tend to just use the grain in the feeders on an as-needs basis. The sheep aren't at them constantly, so all sheep generally get a good go at the feeder. When they first see it, they might attack it, seemingly want to attack it and all want to get in at once. But when they settle down and they come and go gradually, there's ample opportunity for the sheep to get to them. We went for the wheeled feeder because we have no method of easily filling them in the paddock. We also prefer to have it in different positions and shift it around the paddock. So as the sheep are feeding from it, they don't end up digging quite a hole around them. The permanent ones end up with quite a hole around them, and when it rains it ends up quite muddy, and it's better to have the feeders in different positions every week. The feeder is quite easy to move around with a small Ferguson tractor that we have. We fill it at home with a pencil auger straight out of the silo. We went for the wheeled feeder because we have no method of easily filling them in the paddock. We also prefer to have it in different positions and shift it around the paddock. The adjustable doors on the feeder are quite easy to use. They're a threaded setup, so there's no pins to lose in different holes, so you can adjust them exactly where you want them. We find when we put our fingers under them that we can adjust them nice and evenly, and we need to do that because if you don't set it up correctly and too much feed comes out, that becomes a major issue where sheep can eat too much too quickly, and that can be fatal. We find the feeders to be a really helpful feeding tool or feeding method, but it's not something you can just set and forget. You still need to keep on top of it, make sure they don't empty, make sure that the sheep are still accessing the feed. So it's not just a simple tool you can just drive away and check it in a month's time. You still need to keep an eye on it and make sure things are going okay, but it's certainly far less wasteful than just pouring it out onto the ground.